It's kind of honeycomby. It's got quite a tang to it sometimes. Would you like one?
I like a crunchy bar.
Yeah.
Not when we're going to record, I don't think.
Oh, damn it!
Oh, no, it's okay for you to have one.
Too late now. I'm unprofessional now.
What do you mean I'm unprofessional now?
Hey.
I mean, like it's just sort of started happening or something.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a consummate professional.
A what?
A consummate professional. In that I consume whilst I'm being a professional.
I'm not quite sure that's the spirit of the...
Are you sure?
No.
Did you look it up in the
I haven't looked it up in anything.
dictionary?
You're a dictionary. You're full of words. I don't know. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stephen and Joe Show. My name's Stephen, his name's Joe, and this is a show.
It is mostly my name, most of the time, and this is mostly a show.
It's mostly your name most of the time.
I've got more of a name.
Yeah, but when's it not your name?
In work, I'm called Joseph.
Because you have an amazing Technicolor dream
Waistcoat. No, because it sounds more professional, apparently.
Does it? Right, okay. All right.
I've just never been fussy. About not in general. About whether I'm called Joe, Joseph,
this
Joey.
explains an awful lot.
You know, whatever. It's a name. It's fine.
But on to that bit today, you're Joe.
Today I'm Joe.
Right,
yes.
now you're Joe.
For the purposes of
YouTube
casting right now, I am Joe.
We're honoured to... I don't know. I'm just making it up as I go along.
Oh, you're doing well. You're doing well. I feel very...
Some would say I'm not, but I can smell that drink. It's quite strong, isn't it?
It is quite strong. Sparkling passion fruit juice is a surprisingly strong aroma.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. All right, cool.
Did you have a nice bank holiday?
I had a great bank holiday. I was going to go to the bank, but you know.
Slackers.
Yeah, I know. Like they should have some sort of holiday where they, they don't open or something.
They shouldn't have holiday. They should be counting my money, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Or the truth.
If people could just focus on the lack of money that I have, no, hang on.
No, don't focus. Don't draw attention to it.
If they could not focus on the lack of money that I have, that would just be a great thing. I'd love that.
I'd love it if in banks there was just a shelf with your money stacked on it. And then if you start owing the bank money, they just start engraving space underneath where your money should be. And you have to fill up that space with money until you can start having from the shelf up again.
Yeah.
That's how I picture it in my head.
Right.
So I keep reaching down into my shelf in order to get my paychecks out of the minus money which I have.
I've no longer got a shelf. They've dug a pit.
This is just a big bucket.
It's a massive pit. All the way down to hell. That's with the devil at the bottom going, we need more space to dig a pit. Yeah.
And there's more notes for the fire.
That's basically what goes on in hell. There's construction work as people dig pits.
And bankers.
And bankers, yeah. And old popes.
Politicians.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there.
Well, you don't have to.
Can we not go there?
You don't have to. You just don't believe in going there.
Fairies?
Yeah. Just say, I don't believe in fairies.
Stephen. You take that back.
Every time, no, that doesn't work, does it?
Every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten?
Well, that's ruined my evening.
It's well-known internet fact, apparently.
Is it really?
That's what helps keep the cat population down.
Oh, I see.
It's just
I'm glad we don't have so many cats then, because,
It's population control. Deific population control of kittens. I don't know.
I'm sure that's not true.
No, I haven't thought it through.
I'm sure that's not true. Otherwise, as every teenager goes through high school, we'd have a genocide of cats every week. Just
It's fine. Cats multiply real quickly. So,
no, that's rabbits you're thinking of.
oh, okay. No, the core of the planet is made of cats.
Whoa!
So,
I know we're on YouTube, but that's just...
am I taking it too
This is
far?
the planet YouTube now. Everything is just cats and people complaining about them.
That is pretty much the internet. There are some amazing cats in this world. No, there are some amazing YouTube videos explaining the cat lore of how the internet is made of cats. There's some great music videos. People have come up with some brilliant songs and
music.
Oh, it's so good. So good. I am a fan of puns, and especially tenuous, horrific puns.
There was nothing more tenuous or horrific.
I loved it.
Than that.
It's a strange enjoyment. It's like picking a scab. It hurts, but you really like it.
Right. Yeah. So, on this week's show, the scabs that we'll be picking are...
Oh, gross. Good work. Thank you for that one.
And that leads us on to films. Now, this week I watched Les Mis. I started on Monday. I finished by Friday. So that's quite good for a musical.
Wow.
It's 2.5 hours long, I think. It's not that bad.
Okay.
But basically the film is set against the backdrop of the Student Revolution, which isn't the actual French Revolution and was before the Second French Revolution. So it's a bit of a shit revolution, really, truth be told. It's all about a guy called Jean Valjean, who is released from prison, and he has to serve out his parole, which is going to be for the rest of his life. He tries to go and find work. He can't find work and ends up stealing something from a church. He's caught by guards. He's brought back to the church, and the priest there says, "No, it's all right. I gave him these things." And that spurs Jean Valjean on to change his life. And the action at that point jumps to another part of France that I can't remember, I never can, where Jean Valjean has now become the mayor of the city, and the person called Javert, who was his jailer in prison, actually turns up as the head of his city guard. And that's where the plot starts.
That's where the plot starts.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like the first 3 songs in the whole thing. But this is based on the Victor Hugo books.
Yes.
And the Victor Hugo books are books. I mean, it's a set of books if you read it. So it's a lot of text. So it's.
But you've seen the stage shows.
I have seen the stage show, yeah, and I've got the 25th anniversary concert and the 10th anniversary concert. It could be said that I'm a little bit of a fan of this. I've always liked the music. I think the music's really, really good. And what they did in terms of the film was they took what is a pretty spectacular stage show, even though it's about some quite nasty things.
Yeah.
Because it's about the grit and the grime of France during that period of time. And they've made it very intimate. So the cameras are always very close. You don't get many long shots.
Okay.
You don't get much more than sort of the half body shots, and you know most of the time the camera's right in on the action, and it's right in on people when they're singing as well. So things like "I Dreamed a Dream," which is probably the most famous song from the show, actually becomes a very, very intimate thing, and that is why Anne Hathaway won the Oscar for it, because it's an incredibly engaging moment that draws you in. I think if you've seen the stage show and you're a fan of the stage show, you might not like this as much.
How does it compare? Is it a very different running time, and are the songs very different? Are there more songs in the stage show? Is there
no. Well,
a lot of translation differences is what I mean?
They've added a song into it. I think I remember. Yes, they have. They've added a song into this, and I think they've messed around with a few things, but not enough to worry about in that respect. The
There's a lot of
the only thing is some of the casting people wouldn't necessarily expect people who will be good, and some of them are. I mean, Russell Crowe just doesn't have the voice for it. Whereas all of the other characters do to a certain extent.
Well, Russell Crowe's actually a singer-songwriter in his own right, anyway.
Yeah, but I think there's a big difference when you get Russell Crowe and the other one, the guy who's Wolverine,
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman has done this stage thing before. I've got a video upstairs of Oklahoma with him and Maureen Lipman in.
Apparently, Hugh Jackman is brilliant.
He is. He's amazing.
I've heard so many good things about that.
The voice on him is just amazing.
But that's the thing. Russell Crowe's singer-songwriter stuff is very acoustic guitars. He's got a very quiet, whispering voice to him. It's beautiful. It's really nice music. But it's not something I immediately went, oh, he could do a musical. It's just, you just don't hear that in his voice. It's a very different style of singing.
I almost think he's just the wrong character in it. I mean, he's playing Javert, who's starts off as the captain of the city guard. He hunts down Jean Valjean across various different places. And singing all the while, because that's what happens in a musical. The whole thing is completely through composed, in as much as there's, I think, about 4 or 5 lines of dialogue in the whole thing, and the rest is sung. But he just doesn't seem to fit. I think maybe out of all of the characters, he is a little bit too insular, and I think that probably works with the style of music that he normally does.
Yeah.
But at its heart, this is still a musical.
Because a lot of the singing for the filmed Les Mis was done on set, wasn't it?
It was amazing. They had completely quiet sets, which isn't an easy thing to do. No. Joe and I have made films before. We know how noisy sets can be. How a lighting stand buffeted in the wind will just make a creaking sound, or it's not an easy thing to do. They put carpets on the floor when people were standing there, so that noises of feet didn't come through properly. Wow. They made a soundproof shed that they put the pianist in, and he was a guy who was playing an electric organ, and the music was piped through into the ears, so nobody other than the cast could hear the music, and it was piped into their ears. But the reason that he had to be in a soundproof box was because the sound of him pressing the keys down was too loud to be on set.
Wow.
In the special features for the DVD, and this is one of the great things about it, the special features for the DVD, they show behind the scenes, they show the sound desk of this guy, and he's performing along with everyone to make sure that all of the microphones that are on set, and there are sort of 20 or 30 of these at a time, so they're all balanced perfectly. It's amazing. Just the technical abilities that went into doing this.
That's insane.
It really is. But then it allows them to do certain things which I thought were quite good. Empty chairs and empty tables, which is quite they're all in some way depressing songs, but Empty Chairs and Empty Tables is quite and sort of the male lead's intimate moment of being in front of the audience.
Yeah.
Usually starts off with an introduction and the sweeping strings and all of that sort of stuff. The first verse plays to nothing. It's just this guy sitting there, and the cameras are really close on him, and it's this very intimate moment.
Wow.
When all of his friends have just died, and he's sat in the room where they all are, and he's just going, look, I'm in this room, and yesterday these chairs and tables, they were all filled with people that I knew, and where do I go from here now that everyone I know is dead?
That sounds awesome.
And it is, and that's why I keep saying to you to see it, because it's that good.
All right,
and I know you don't like musicals. So.
Yeah, well, no, I have a very hit and miss relationship with musicals. I'm just very picky about which ones I like and which ones I don't.
I almost want to just show you a clip of it, just so that you can see.
You've piqued my interest enough to watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm a Hugh Jackman fan and a Russell Crowe fan, so I will watch it based upon your recommendation and the fact that they're in it. I'll check it out.
And it's also interesting to note Russell Crowe was in musicals before. He started in musical theatre in Australia.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a lot of the supporting cast are people who were in the stage show.
Oh, brilliant.
So the guy who plays the priest at the beginning, that I was talking about before, he's played by the guy who originally played Jean Valjean on the stage version.
Huh.
And there's a guy's guard commander in charge of a battalion of French soldiers, and he is Marius, who's the male lead in it, in the stage show.
Oh, wow.
And the girl who plays Eponine was actually one of the Nancies from the Andrew Lloyd Webber "Let's Find a Nancy" thing that was on BBC One a couple of years back.
They've not only are the main cast decent actors and in some cases singers, but all of the support cast are all well-known stage performers.
The support cast
film,
are mostly the musical people, and from various different incarnations of it. Having said that, Sacha Baron Cohen was very funny, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him. I don't think that they filmed some of the big production things as well as they could, because everything was trying to be intimate.
Yeah,
I think it was too intimate for those bits. But there's quite a funny song in it called "Master of the House," but he does a very good job.
Brilliant.
I still think it's not a patch on the stage show, but I'd recommend it if you've not seen the stage show and you want a good film to watch.
This week, as usual, I've been playing some video games, but rather than review a game this week, I actually thought I'd talk to you about some news. Because the other night I sat down with a few friends and watched the live announcement of the newest Xbox console, the Xbox One. The Xbox One. They called it the Xbox One.
Well, they've done 360, so they've got to start again.
Yeah, I guess, but just think of the eBay scams. Brand new unboxed Xbox One. It's like, that's not. There is going to be some issues with the Xbox One being named that, but it's not going to be major. But to me, I think it's a strange name to call it. Anybody with OCD is going to have a field day with this. Have you got the Xbox One? The original Xbox? No, the Xbox, the one. So many people were sort of taking bets on what the name was going to be, and there were so many different ones, but this I was not expecting. Although I was reading on Twitter the other day that Yahtzee Croshaw called it the XB1, which shortens to X-Bone, which made me laugh quite a lot.
I quite like that. Yeah, the
like
X-Bone. So the X-Bone, if you want to get shafted by Microsoft, this is the console to go for.
You're actually quite right. One of the things I was most worried about on the rumour mill, there was a few things. First of all, they're saying about touchpad technology on the pad, like the PlayStation 4, but it's not like that. There are one really good thing they've done is with the control pad, the triggers are now responsive. So the possibilities for pressing down on your accelerator if you're in a driving game and actually feeling the accelerator push back, biting points on the clutch with the other finger if you're doing that. There was also talk of the point where if you're firing a gun, where the trigger is giving pressure and the point where it snaps when it actually fires. Lots of things like that could be happening. Also, pulling a trigger when you're punching someone, actually feeling it hit something, and it's stopping your finger at different points depending on when you fight. There's a lot of possibilities for that whole feedback reactive, and it will involve people in the game and give some immersion, which I think is really cool. The problem that Microsoft's presentation had was the consistent mention of the word immersion. I've never heard the words innovation and immersion mentioned so many times. There was about 5 minutes worth of decent presentation in there, and the rest was waffle. But they did announce some other interesting things as well. One thing I was concerned about was there's no backwards compatibility. But one thing I was concerned about was them talking about secondhand games. Secondhand games is now a massive market, and on the Xbox 360,
in fact, you mentioned this the other week as well.
in the Xbox 360, obviously you can trade games,
Yeah.
borrow games, all that kind of stuff. And the rumor was that they just weren't going to let it happen, and we're half right. With the Xbox One, you have to pay a fee, as yet unannounced, to unlock games that have been used by somebody else's machine. Now, if it's a low fee, like I don't know, I think £5 would be fine. I think people would be
That's
like,
a bit much still, isn't it?
well, I think to buy a second-hand game, it just means second-hand games would in theory get cheaper, or we'd just be spending more. But to borrow a game off a friend, then to spend £5 to unlock it, it's still a bitch. But I think it'll end up being more like £10. I think they'll really push it, and I think it could kill it.
Where it's going to have consequences is the games rental market, where suddenly that's just not going to be possible.
The only thing I can think is for games rental, perhaps they'll have. You'll be able to purchase codes. Well, purchase codes to unlock the game for a certain amount of time.
That's possible.
That's the only thing I can think, but that's going to leave things open for a lot of mods, cracks, and hacks for people to change things on that kind of system. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get around this and how they market it, how they publicize it to get initial buyers. Because people are still going to buy the console on its release no matter what. There are going to be people who stick with Microsoft. They've said there's going to be 15 exclusive titles over the year as well. So there's a lot of ways they're trying to keep that brand. But the Xbox One they're designing as a home system. So it's much more integrated for watching live TV. If you're watching films, you can then do picture-in-picture and have slide-in menus. So if you're watching, in the presentation they used the new Star Trek as an example. So if you're watching the Star Trek reboot film, you can swipe in and it'll tell you about the next film, and you can watch a trailer and quieten the main flick. And you can book tickets to go and see Star Trek Into Darkness in the cinema. Really great, neat tricks, great ideas, but in truth, if you're watching a film, rather than doing that whilst you're watching it, you're going to be watching the film.
Now, that's actually very interesting, because when I'm watching films now, I tend to be sat here with my iPad.
In theory, it would make that all integral on the screen. They've made it so you can run two things at the same time.
But I don't want it on the screen.
No, I know.
I want it on my iPad.
Yes.
So that I can watch what I want to watch, and then only be distracted when I want to be distracted.
But here's the thing. They have integrated it again with 3 devices. Not only have you got the control pad, obviously the Xbox that's playing on the screen, you also can integrate it with a Microsoft Surface. So you get a lot of information on your Microsoft Surface integrating with what's going on your TV. So I guess to a certain degree they've done that, but it's obviously only on the Microsoft Surface. So
does that then integrate with Windows 8 as well? Because I know Surface uses Windows 8 as a base. So if you've got...
The Xbox uses the latest Windows system.
So then if you've got a Windows 8 laptop, would that be possible as well?
In theory, they didn't cover that part. Right. But I would presume so, that it would all be connectable. The other thing they have done is each Xbox One comes with an Xbox Kinect. So you still have the voice activation software, the hardware and software of the actual Kinect itself has also been improved, so it can actually monitor your heart rate, and it actually...
I'm not sure that's a good idea.
I know. It also contour maps your body a lot more effectively.
I think I'm actually having a heart attack right now just thinking about that.
With more points of articulation being tracked by the Kinect than ever before. So there's some really interesting technology progressions, but the way they marketed it basically made it sound like an Xbox dating site, which was slightly concerning. So they announced a few games, which is a lot of the usual affair of Call of Duty, NFL, FIFA, Forza, a lot of stable franchises, and they do look gorgeous. But I mean, that's what you expect from the next generation of console, for it to look beautiful, and visually it's phenomenal. It does look great. But for me personally, I can just see myself waiting at the moment for the next gen until it's a bit more clear what's happening with things like rental copies, borrowed copies, with how the system is integrated into itself in order to give you a gaming experience.